Everyone, this is Robin, the author of Weight Loss Apocalypse. This video is in response to questions about mixing vegetables on the very low calorie protocol. So I want to start by saying I do not want to change what you do in the with your protocol, and you need to always listen to your prescribing practitioner and do whatever they say. So I'm not here to convince you to do what I have our patients do. But here is the information, and you do what you want. So based on the amount of data I've collected with patients, and I have a lot of data, and I've observed hundreds of people through Dr. Simeon's very low calorie protocol, I have never, ever, not once seen a slow decrease in body fat losses based on mixing vegetables. If you read Weight Loss Apocalypse, I have an example day of the very low calorie protocol where I actually, and I remember when I put this in the book, I thought, oh, I'm going to get flack for this, but I actually did, in the example, mix tomatoes and lettuce and a few things. So and I wouldn't have, I think, printed that if I hadn't have had the amount of data I collected to feel safe in advising people that mixing vegetables is okay. However, I do believe that people tend to, especially if they think more is better, they tend to over measure when they mix, and that can be a cause of a problem. So it's very important that the maximum allotment of food never increases unless there's hunger to suffice, but that's a totally different conversation. So back to the mixing. I've often thought about Dr. Simeon's and how he came to say one vegetable in one sitting. And it makes complete sense to me. You've got to understand that Dr. Simeon's created the very low calorie protocol out of deduction. And in order to deduce, you cannot mix anything specifically with the vegetables, because if it's mixed with something and there is a weight stall, which by the way, that's the only way he knew what was going on. So he didn't do body fat compositions. He had no other way of understanding results outside of scale weight, which is super, super poor measuring of what's truly going on this protocol. So basically, in order for him to be able to know what fruits and vegetables were appropriate, the participant would have to eat only one vegetable, and if they mixed vegetables, he may not have been able to deduct which one may have caused the problem. So based on his the science of deduction, it makes a whole lot of sense why you would say one vegetable at a time. The problem is that, when you chew your food up and it goes into the stomach, that food is mixing with all the food that's in your stomach, and the body does not decipher one thing from the next. It's basically just assessing chemistry, pressure gradients and alkalinity and acidity and sodium and potassium. It doesn't care, if this is how much sodium that food had, and this is so. Physiologically, it does not make sense why you can't mix these vegetables that he's listed. Plus, the data I've collected, I've done countless body fat compositions, and I've got very clear data that does not show any change in fat loss based on body fat compositions, which I do calipers, and we do multiple tests, so we don't have just one chart, we use multiple charts. And the amount of fat you're going to lose on this protocol, if you maintain the appropriate amount of leptin, is going to be what you burn. There's no way to get yourself to burn more, because if you burn more, if you don't have demand for that fuel, that's the problem. On the other side, if you burn less, you're in starvation, and obviously allowing yourself to have such severe symptoms of hunger would not be okay. Which is why Dr. Simeon's at the very end of the protocol said to add more food for those who are very lean and hit the bottom. So anyhow, that's my opinion on mixing. Again, you should, ultimately never eat more than your body says to eat, and that's why we have hunger. So I hope that answers some questions for some of you, and thanks for following.